The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Pochester with you. Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you are in the market for a new or used automobile, you need to check out Greg Greenwood and his phenomenal staff at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. I've said this all week long, and by the way, we thank Greenwood Chevrolet. They've just started sponsoring Running Point. This is their first week of sponsoring Running Point, and I've said if Greenwood Chevrolet were a sports team, they'd be a freaking dynasty. Because you got to think about this for a second. Salespeople, yeah, they're top of the list. Finance company, because the salespeople can sit back and they can sell you a car, but if you have bad credit, then just sorry about your luck. The finance company, they'll find a way to get it done, so they're pretty top notch. And then when you take the car off the lot, you got to make sure that it's taken care of. And well, if something happens, because let's be honest, life happens. Life happens, especially if you have an older car and, stuff tends to wear down or, need to be replaced. You go to the service department, top notch. So you got a top-notch sales department, top-notch finance department, and a top-notch service department. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, franchise dynasty. That's what you have at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. We got 4 of the 5 high school coaches on tap for today. Still awaiting to hear from Coach Cusick at Crestview. I'm sure we're going to have him on as well, because we always do. Sean Guerrero from Springfield will chime in at 1 o'clock today. Ryan Williams from Poland will call in at 1:20. Dan Reardon from Ursuline will call in at 2 o'clock. And yes, we have a Dan Yeagley sighting, which is pretty hard to do because he teaches, but we got him to come on the program just after school is out and just before he has his kids practicing for their upcoming game tomorrow night against Crestview. We'll have Coach Yeggs on at 2:20. And again, we should be having Coach Cusick on this afternoon as well. We're waiting to hear from Coach Q, and I'm sure we'll definitely hear from him at some point this hour. So there you go. Good lineup today, and we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Not just football. We got some other things to talk about as well, although today is part 1 of the 2-part regional semifinal night in the Mahoning Valley. Divisions 2 through 7 are in the regional semifinals. Division 1 is 1 week ahead, so they are in the regional championship games. They're currently in the top 8 in the state of Ohio. 2 teams each region. 4 times 2 is 8. My Leetonia education knows no boundaries. The field of 16 right now, D2 through 7. By the way, as of 11:55 this morning, there are no games postponed. Even though the COVID numbers are through the roof in the state of Ohio, and which is, that's not a good thing. But the good thing right now, As of 11:55 this morning, when I checked the OHSAA website, there are 0 canceled games from D1 through D7. If you'll recall, 11 canceled games the first weekend, 11 more canceled games the second weekend, and I believe 4 or 5 games were canceled in weekend number 3. So far, knock on wood, 0 cancellations on tap for tonight and tomorrow night. Now, that could change. Hopefully it doesn't. That could change. But right now, every game is set to be played throughout the state of Ohio in high school football. And hopefully we keep it that way this weekend because, and I mentioned this the last few weeks, I would not want to be in a room with 15 to 18-year-old kids, and I would not want to be the person to let them know, by the way, your season is over, your school got a COVID break or a COVID outbreak, and your season is now over. I wouldn't want to be in that room. That's some ugly news. And hopefully nobody gets that news from here on out. But like I said, so far, no cancellations in the state of Ohio as it pertains to the high school football playoffs that begin tonight and continue tomorrow night. Local teams of interest tonight, Division III. Well, local teams in terms of the YSN family. Division III, Canfield is at Streetsboro. That game's going to be on the turf. Look, any game that's not on the turf tonight, you got a muddy, muddy field. So Canfield and Streetsboro, you're playing on the turf. That shouldn't be an issue. Dalton coming up to Warren to take on JFK at Mollenkopf Stadium. Again, it's going to be on the turf. That shouldn't be an issue. McDonald and Lucas will be an issue. McDonald and Lucas will be on the natural grass. And, again, I don't know how long it has stopped raining in Lucas. I'm going to assume that because weather goes west to east 99 times out of 100, they probably had their rain stop about an hour before we did. But still, you're going to have a pretty soaked natural grass surface. And that might be good news. That actually might be good news for McDonald, knowing that you're going to be playing Lucas in a phone booth anyway. So, it might be good news for McDonald. I mean, defensively it will be. Offensively, I don't know if that's going to be good news for McDonald at all. But defensively, it certainly could be good news. Tomorrow night, Ursuline at Poland, Crestview at South Range. Both of those games are on turf, so it won't matter whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, or anything in between. The turf won't be that big of a deal unless we get really, really cold, and then the turf starts to get a little slippery, but that's not supposed to happen. Mogador at Springfield. Again, natural grass at Springfield. That could pose to be a problem, but it just depends on if there's any more precipitation today or into tomorrow. From what we were told, that's not supposed to be happening, but, we'll see. We'll see what transpires. Poll question for today. Are you going to a game tonight? If you're going to a game tonight, where are you headed? If you're a Harding fan, are you headed to Hudson? If you're a Canfield fan, are you headed to Streetsboro? If you're a JFK fan, you got your seat ready to go at Mollenkopf. And if you're a McDonald fan, do you go to the revenge game against the Lucas Cubs? D7 Region 25 semifinals. By the way, last year, we've made mention of this. McDonald went out there. They lost in overtime. Lucas wound up going to the state championship game. They got their doors blown off by Maria Stein, Marion Local in the state title game. So is there any game that you're going to tonight in the playoffs? Now, regular season, we haven't really mentioned too much about the regular season, but here we go. And again, in a COVID world, and this is probably yet another reason why 2020 is kind of bizarre, because you have regular season games while the playoffs are going on. You don't get much more bizarre than that. It's just it's bizarre, kids. It's just bizarre. Howland is at Marlington. Cheney will travel to Elyria. Western Reserve goes to La Brea. That could be a fun game. Newton Falls at Waterloo. Lowellville is at East Palestine. Mineral Ridge is at Lisbon. Jackson Milton at Columbiana. Pie Valley goes to Edgewood. Grand Valley is at Geneva. Beaver Local takes on West Branch. And Leetonia will visit Sebring. And all of those games will start at 7 o'clock. And tomorrow night, as we mentioned, 2 all-local matchups. Ursuline taking on Poland from Poland High School. Crestview taking on South Range from South Range High School. And Mogador will travel from the suburban Akron area to the Mahoning Valley as they take on the Springfield Tigers in what is turning out to be a pretty nice rivalry between these two schools. Should be a fun game. So that's what's going on in high school football, and we would certainly love to hear from you and let me know where are you headed. Where are you headed tonight? Are you headed to a playoff game? Are you headed to a regular season game? Are you staying home and spending some money on ysnlive.com? If you are, thank you very much. Just know a couple of things. Number one, you have access to all the games on Friday that we're planning on broadcasting. You'll have all the access to the games on Friday. That's number one. Number two, and most importantly, and make double dog damn sure you are doing this. The device that you are planning on watching your game, you have to use that device when you are planning on purchasing a game. So let's say that you're a McDonald fan and you're not going to make the trip to Lucas. And by the way, who wants to make that trip unless you have family? Who wants to make that trip? It's going to be cold, and let's be honest, Lucas's stadium is pretty small, and you're not going to get a lot of tickets to begin with, so you're probably not going to be able to make that trip, even if you wanted to McDonald and Lucas, unless, of course, you are the parent of one of the football players. You're probably not going to get a ticket to that game. I'm just saying. This is where we come into play. $9.99, and you get that game and all the other games that we are planning on broadcasting on Friday. Now, the cool thing about this is, if you're a McDonald fan and you go to ysnlive.com and you click on schools and the drop box drops down and you choose McDonald, 25% of your $9.99 investment is going to go right back to the McDonald Athletic Department. Now, this is very, very VERY, very crucial, so listen up. Stop if you've heard this, but I got to tell you guys again and gals again because it's that crucial. Use the device that you are planning on watching the game tonight when you are filling out your credit card information. Because if you don't, you will not be able to watch the game from that device. You're going to watch the game from the device that you're using when you fill out your credit card information. So let me give you a nice little example. I own an iPad. I mean, it's probably not a new one. It probably needs replaced, but, I own an iPad. So let's say that I wanted to purchase the Canfield-Streetsboro game and watch Coach Pavlansky take on the Streetsboro Rockets. If I wanted to do that, then I would simply go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, Dropbox falls down, click on Canfield, and then fill out my credit card information. But here's the kicker. If I decided to use my iPhone, hang on a second, this little bad boy, it's an 8 Plus. Yeah, I'm a few years back. I'm not up to date with all this stuff. What's the new one now? iPhone 12? Who the hell cares? I got an 8 Plus. A couple of years ago, it was relatively new. Now it's kind of obsolete. Welcome to modern technology. Anyway, I got an iPhone 8 Plus. If I were to use this device by filling out my, fill out my credit card information using this device, guess what? I'm going to be watching the Canfield-Streetsboro game on this device instead of my iPad because I filled out my credit card information with this bad boy instead of my iPad. So it is extremely important that if you're planning on if you're planning on purchasing a game, use the device you are planning on watching the game from when it comes time to fill out the credit card information. It's important. Otherwise, you're not going to be doing it. So make sure that you are doing that, and I cannot stress this enough. And I'll use Canfield as an example. If you're planning on purchasing the Canfield game at $9.99, first and foremost, not only do you have access to the Canfield game, you have access to all of the games that we're planning on broadcasting on ysnlive.com this evening. So it's not just the Canfield game. So if Canfield is blowing out Streetsboro, or God forbid, the opposite is happening, and you're frustrated or happy, and you want to see an exciting game, you can use your device and go to any other game that we're planning on broadcasting tonight. It's that easy. It's that easy. But when you spend the $9.99, again, by being a Canfield fan or a fan of any team in this area, 25% of your investment, approximately $2.50, is going to go right back to the athletic department of the school of your choice. And that makes this a pretty cool thing. Not only are you saving a couple of bucks and watching the game from the comforts of your home or the comforts of a local watering hole. I know, I'll give a shout out to my alma mater, Leetonia, and I'll give a shout out to the Italian American Club down on Main Street in Leetonia, of which I am a proud member. Our fish fries, by the way, are second to none, but we'll get into that as we get closer to fish fry season. When Leetonia was on their run, and I believe Leetonia's playing Sebring tonight, anytime we had Leetonia on, it's on the Italian American Club's TVs. You just go down to the Italian American Club, free admission, even for non-members, and you can watch the Bears play. And I'm sure there's going to be multiple places throughout Canfield. I'm sure Warren will probably be hooking some people up with JFK and at McDonald. I'm sure there's going to be some places in McDonald that you're not going to be able to see the game against Lucas, the Lucas Cubs, and somewhere in the afterlife. Hopefully, Harry Carey is not saying at 10 o'clock tonight, "Cubs win, Cubs win." Hopefully, he's not saying that in the afterlife later tonight. I'm just saying. But anyway, if you are looking to purchase the game, go to ysnlive.com, $9.99. Use the device you're planning on watching the game from. Fill out your credit card information. And not only do you have access to that game, you have access to all of the games we're planning on broadcasting on Friday night. And most importantly, 25% of your $9.99 investment goes back to the school of your choice. The school that you chose when you filled out your credit card information. So there you go. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. All right, Saturday. I know that we have football tonight, but Saturday, here's what's going on in the area in terms of volleyball and boys soccer. Division I District Championship in volleyball. Fitch will travel to Nordonia. Division II District Championship in Lakeview. Lakeview hosting Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. Division III District Championship, we got a all-local matchup. Mooney will come down to Crestview to take on the Rebels. And Division IV District Championship, we have an all-local matchup as well. Western Reserve is at Wellsville. So as of right now, we will have two teams in D3, one team in D3, I beg your pardon. One team in D3, one team in D4 that is guaranteed, actually two teams in D4, my mistake, because Columbiana is playing at Mineral Ridge at 1 o'clock. So we have two teams guaranteed to go to the regionals in D4 in volleyball. One team in D3, and if Lakeview can hold serve, pun intended, at home, they would be the fourth team into the regionals. And if Fitch can get a victory on the road at Nordonia, then we have 5 teams headed to the regional in volleyball, which would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Boys soccer. By the way, all of the games on Saturday pertaining to girls volleyball will start at 1 o'clock. As a matter of fact, all of the games with the high school tournaments tomorrow will be at 1 o'clock. Boys soccer at 1 as well. D2 district championship games. Aurora will travel to Howland, and Poland is going to travel to Chagrin Falls. Division 3 district finals, we will have 2 local teams into the regionals because these are 2 all-local matchups. South Range is at Badger. Columbiana will travel to Farmers National Bank Field on the campus of Youngstown State University as they take on Cardinal Mooney. So in Division 3, we are going to have 2 local teams in the regionals, whether it be South Range or Badger and Columbiana or Mooney. Division 2, Howland is home, and they're favored. So there's a pretty good chance we get 3, and if Poland can go up to Chagrin Falls and upset Chagrin Falls, and it would be an upset because, well, Poland's the visiting team, and they're the lower seed. If they can pull off the upset, then we're looking at 4 teams. Guaranteed 2, hoping to get 4. Just like in volleyball. Well, in volleyball, we're guaranteed 3, hoping to get 5. In boys soccer, we're guaranteed 2, hoping to get 4. Yesterday in girls soccer, we did get our guarantee district champion. Congratulations to South Range. They blanked champion 5-0. We did not, however, get a district champion in Division 2. Kenston shut out Canfield yesterday 3-0. So we get a district champion in D3 in South Range, and they're on to the regionals with their victory over champion last night in the rain at the New Digs in South Range, 5-0, a victory over champion. All right, we'll take a timeout. 330-886-0813. It's a Football Friday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Question for today. Are you planning on watching a game from the game site tonight in high school football? And if so, where are you headed? Where are you headed? All right, 330-886-0813. It's a Football Friday edition of Running Point. Back in a few.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles.
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
Important for everyone.
No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever.
There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
To Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. Let's go to the phone lines where we find an old friend, Mr. Football. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
And you, of course, hopefully you're doing good.
Yeah, everything's good. You know, everything is peachy.
And your vast internet audience, I hope everybody's fine out there.
Well, I mean, look, hopefully everyone's planning on staying in tonight. If you're not going to a football game, stay in and pay $9.99. Go to ysnlive.com and you can watch games from the comforts of your home.
Yeah. And good luck to all of our high school teams that are still in this thing, and best of luck to them.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, Vince. We got 9 local teams, 8 in the YSN family. How many survive and go on to the regional championship games next week?
I'm hoping for 4, but I'll take 3.
Okay. Well, we're guaranteed 2 with the winner of Ursuline, Poland, and the winner of Crestview and South Range. So we're guaranteed 2. 4 would be nice. I'm greedy. I want 5.
Well, I'm hoping that the Bulldogs. I know they're going up in class. Well, not in class, but a tough team. And the Poland Bulldogs going up a tough team with Ursuline. And they were down for a year. Now they're seemingly coming back and kids in the right spots. But that Poland team, I tell you, I seen them once this year. They look good to me.
Yeah, no, they're a solid team. There's no two ways about that. That's going to be an exciting game at Poland. No two ways about it.
Yeah. The other thing too, I was looking around with all this, with the virus hitting everywhere and this and that, and taking down the number one Heisman candidate this year, the quarterback from Clemson. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt them. They're playing Boston College. If they were playing your favorite team, Notre Dame, it might hurt them a little bit. But as you well know, and some of your more astute listeners and followers know, that at these bigger schools, you got one parade All-American backing up another parade All-American backing up another parade All-American.
Sure. Now, here's an interesting thing, Vince. The rules that the NCAA set down are pretty strict. If you have been diagnosed with COVID, you're down for 10 days minimum. Now, this is going to get a little interesting because it was announced yesterday that Lawrence was diagnosed with COVID. So if you count 10 days, and we count yesterday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the 9th day. Next Saturday is the 10th day minimum that he has to sit down. So if the announcement was made and he was tested positive yesterday, by the NCAA rule, and I'm going to be very curious to see if Clemson abides by this or if the NCAA allows Clemson to skirt past this, by rule, if Lawrence tested positive yesterday, he would be ineligible to play against Notre Dame next Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Because it would be the 10th day that he would have to barricade himself, and he'd essentially have to be away from people. So that would be the 10th day, and that is according to the NCAA rules, 10 days minimum. So if Lawrence tested positive yesterday, the 10th day is next Saturday. That's when Clemson plays Notre Dame. So I'm going to be really curious to see if Mr. Lawrence is going to be suiting up and playing when Clemson plays Notre Dame. And if he does, I'm going to be very curious to see how Clemson gets away with that. I mean, they could very easily sit back and say, well, Lawrence was tested positive on Wednesday. We announced it on Thursday. They could say that. And if that's the case, well, 10 days would be Friday. Yeah. So they could possibly play a little shenanigans with this. But again, if Lawrence tested positive yesterday, by rule, he's ineligible to play against Notre Dame next Saturday.
Wow. Didn't know that. That's why you're there.
Well, that's why I make the potato chips. Or the Lorna Dunes. That's another one of my favorite treats as well. So there you go. Hey, next Saturday or next weekend, actually, the Breeders' Cup. Who should we all be looking for?
Well, I'm perusing it right now. It's some of the favorites that ran earlier this year, and especially the one horse that everybody was excited about, and he lost in Preakness, and he got beat by that filly. It's just that this is where these horses. I mean, the big three, the Belmont, the Kentucky Derby, of course, and the Preakness. Those races are still going to be gigantic races, but the Breeders' Cup, the people have made this is like the World Series. And speaking of World Series, I think this was one of the lackluster World Series that no one really paid attention to. I mean, the Dodgers won, yes, they did, but there wasn't the enthusiasm. I didn't hear the fanfare. I didn't hear people talking about it, like the World Series, especially when your team's not in it, our team being the Indians.
Sure.
But it's just that, it wasn't as hyped as the other World Series.
Well, I think that a lot of it is COVID related, unfortunately.
Well, that's true.
And unfortunately, this is going to ring right in through the rest of the football season. I mean, look, they're already having contingent plans on an empty stadium or close to an empty stadium in Tampa for the Super Bowl. They're already talking about March Madness being in front of very limited people. So it just. This is really continuing to once again rear its ugly head in terms of not having the people in the stadiums, and when you don't have the people in the stadiums, it's kind of tough to not only promote your product, but it's kind of tough to get excited about a product when you're not seeing the stands completely full.
And the other thing too is that it hurts the big school, but it's devastating in YSU. I could imagine with the new coach and everything not being able to get out in the field and moving these games to when.
Yeah, in February and March, which
not going to be.
It's not going to be pleasant, but at least they have football, and that's the bottom line. But it's certainly not going to be pleasant. If you're going to a game at Stambaugh. It truly will be the ice castle. There's no two ways about that one.
It's just that this virus has affected everybody, sports in particular.
Sure.
And it's just that it's we can't bounce back. This year was, I think, especially for the YSU, with the new coach and everything. I look forward till next year, 2021, and go from there. Start it off. Hopefully on a good season, with a good season.
Well, I mean, Vince, let's look at the basketball season. I mean, John Barnes and Jared Calhoun are both supposed to have really good basketball teams, and yet there's a better than average chance that only a certain amount of people are going to be able to watch games at Bigley this year, and that's not good.
Especially at a school as what I'll refer to them as the 1AA. Even though we're in the best conference football-wise that you could get in the 1AA schools, is that attendance and not being able to follow your team or playing on Saturday at home. We all know that YSU struggles to put people in the stands. Even when they were on the road a couple, 3 years ago, when we went to the championship game, we still struggled to put people in the stands.
Sure.
And it's just a different world than it was when YSU was dominating the 1AA atmosphere.
Well, it was also a perfect storm back then. I mean, we talked so much about that. I mean, the MAC was nowhere near the conference that it is now. It certainly wasn't getting millions of dollars for their games to be broadcast in the middle of the week. It was a perfect storm. The football was. You had a lot more talent from a 100-mile radius of the state of Youngstown. The MAC was nowhere near as good a conference as it is now, nowhere near as financially stable a conference as it is now. And it just there were other avenues in this as well. I mean, I think that there was a much larger population 30 years ago than there was today in the Mahoning Valley, and I think that perfect storm was a true benefit to Youngstown. Unfortunately, that perfect storm is not going to be coming around anytime soon.
But Ronnie, we talked about this so many different times. We saw where other teams in the one at that time where YSU was participating in winning championships against they progressed. They won the Marshalls, the Georgia Southerns. They stepped up and moved up into the big boy football conferences.
Yeah,
now you're seeing them on TV. Whether they're playing as one of the games against a big team, and some of those teams are beating the big teams and stuff like that. There, I mean, who would have thunk it that Rutgers would have? Not saying it's a small school, but Rutgers, the doormat of the Big Ten, jumps up and beats Michigan State because Charlino's back at Rutgers and he's getting those kids in northern New Jersey and stuff like that, or central New Jersey, not to go away and keeping them at home. And he's developing a program there that's going to be, I'm not going to say they're going to compete with the Ohio States or Penn States or the Michigans of the Big Ten, but they're going to be the middle-of-the-road Big Ten team, able to knock off somebody when they're not playing their A game.
I agree with that. I certainly agree with that. And you left out another team that has been very prominent, and that's Boise State. Youngstown State played Boise State.
Boise State, yeah.
So it's there have been schools that YSU played along the way of their 4 championship years in 1AA, in which they have gone on and have made a pretty decent headway in Division I football.
And you think back, so where's the difference between YSU and Marshall? Come on, Marshall. You ever been down there? It's one little small town along that river down there, and that's all they have is Marshall. And
that's it.
And there's nothing around for miles and miles and miles. Yet they're able to travel and do this and do that. They're on TV and this and that, and they're recruiting. I'm not saying that we could have a rivalry with Marshall, Cincinnati, and us. That would be a great, schools that we'd be able to drive 4 hours, 5 hours to, and stuff like that. Now, our nearest rivalry is who? Indiana State? Is that our closest one?
As of right now, it definitely is in football. In basketball, it's Robert Morris and Cleveland State are more than comfortable where you can get in the car and drive over there.
Right. It's just that we strung ourselves. We tied our wagon to a conference that's miles and miles that you have to go plane and then bus to most of the schools in our western part of our conference.
Well, and listen, I understand that from that perspective. I get that, but they also tied their hitch to the best conference in FCS football. Now, granted, you can probably go and play in the conference that Robert Morris is in, or Duquesne's in, or St. Francis is in, and you'd probably dominate that conference,
yes.
and then you'd get your ass kicked in the playoffs because that conference isn't preparing anybody for anything because that conference is garbage. Could you go over to the
where Delaware is at?
Where Delaware and James Madison and all those other schools? I'm sure you probably could, but then you'd be taking a step down in comparison to the Missouri Valley Conference. And I like the conference that YSU's in, but I agree with you. There's I wish that there were some teams that were a little bit closer, but at the end of the day, I like the conference YSU's in. I do. I like that.
Ronnie,
conference.
is it the money part of it? We can't get in the same conference like Cincinnati, Marshall, one of.
Well, I mean, you got to have a huge athletic department budget. I mean, that's you compare their budget to the budget at YSU, it's night and day.
And Marshall's in the same conference as Cincinnati, or are they two different?
I believe they're both in Conference USA, if I'm not mistaken, or the AAC. I beg your pardon.
AAC. Yeah.
And one of them might be in the Conference USA, and the other one in AAC. I'm not 100% sure on Marshall being in the same conference as Cincinnati.
It's just like West Virginia being in the Big 12. They have no business being in the Big 12 over there. The traveling for them to go play, all their closest rivals is where Texas,
probably Kansas or
Kansas and Texas. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they, but they're a big time school and they have a big time budget that's able to, they fly everywhere and then drive. They're able to do that. Going to Manhattan, Kansas, or they're going to Stillwater or something like that is something for them. They probably have the all private jets that, or they have a charter rather that goes right to that stuff.
And look, at the end of the day, hopefully, when they refigure these conferences, and that's assuming the Power 5 conferences tell the NCAA to get lost, which might happen. If they refigure the conferences, then obviously West Virginia is a much better fit for either the ACC or the Big Ten.
Yes, and then for all the Buckeye fans out there, be very like the Rabbit said, be very careful when you go into the Nittany Valley at night, especially. They're not going to have the 100,000 people there, but I think last week the upset against Indiana. Penn State homed in for the Buckeyes this week.
I honestly, there was a statistic, and it's more on your side of things. James Franklin, as an underdog since he took over at Penn State, is unbeaten against Ohio State as an underdog against the spread. I'm just going to throw that out there, and it would not surprise me. I don't think it's going to happen. But it would not surprise me if Penn State upsets Ohio State Saturday night outright. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying that it'll happen, but if I had money, I would certainly put it on Penn State plus the points because, again, James Franklin, as the head coach at Penn State, undefeated as an underdog against Ohio State against the spread.
There you go, Ronnie. Always great talking to you.
Same here, brother. 330-886-0813. Coach Cusick from Crestview. We'll get his thoughts on the game against South Range. That's all coming up next. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gberbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Berbick Farms, it just tastes better.
With Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, we find the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels, Paul Cusick. Coach Q, how are you today, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Good. I'm good. This is fun weather for anyone that wants to play football on the turf because, well, it's irrelevant to whether it's raining or whatever. The turf is always it's always going to be nice. That's why I'd much rather see games on turf than natural grass. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather doesn't get freezing because then you can have some difficulties. It'll be nice for you guys to get back on the turf after last week's game up at Garrettsville on the grass.
Yeah, it will be. It was a little sloppy, not too bad. I mean, I thought Garfield did a nice job of trying to keep their field pretty solid, but there was slick in spots, but, we'll play on whatever.
As the game progressed, I thought that you guys, your will was starting to take this one over. And when Hardenbrook broke one out from 70-plus yards, and that gave you guys a 23-7 lead, I felt a whole lot more comfortable. But good Lord, those kids from Garfield, they weren't quitting anytime soon. That quickly became a game a few minutes later.
Well, that's exactly what we thought. They had showed on film that they're not going to quit, and their kids believe in what they're doing. So, our kids did a good job in executing what we needed to do, and we made a couple more plays than they did, and that was the difference in the game. Talk
a little bit about the combination of talent you have behind Anthony Cusick, your running backs, Ethan Powell and Mr. Hardenbrook, because it's two completely different styles, yet when both of these guys are on, you're virtually unbeatable.
Well, they do a nice job of complementing each other, and they're going to block for each other. They're going to do whatever it takes, and we feel very comfortable with feeding one or the other, and we kind of go with whoever has the hot hand and whoever's playing a little bit better, but both of them are pretty good, so we feel pretty good about giving either one of them the ball.
All right, you guys are going to be taking on a South Range team that has played a ridiculously good schedule because they're in the Northeast 8. They've played up for most of the weeks. You've had an opportunity to see them on film. Is there anything different this year than in previous years from South Range?
I don't think so. I think South Range is South Range, and they do what they do, and they're everything that you think they're supposed to be. And we've played them so many times that, whatever they do doesn't surprise us, so we just need to go out and play.
That makes your job a whole lot easier. Now, if as long as everything is as is, it's got to make your job easier. Knowing that, okay, this is how they play. They're not going to be throwing any wrinkles per se. Let's just get after it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're going to tweak here and there, but they have such a good system, and their coaches have been there for so long. They have a great system in place. Their kids believe in it. And, the successful programs are the ones that have the program in place, and they don't feel like they have to change week to week, that they believe in what they're doing, and they're going to execute it. And that's South Range.
Finding some holes in that South Range defense is going to be the challenge for this week. And, I've made mention your offense is predicated on speed, both bringing the play in because you don't have a huddle per se, but it's also speed on the edges with your running backs and with your receivers. This is going to be an interesting chess match, as it always is when you guys have the ball, because there's so many options that you have against a really, really good South Range defense.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to use all those options, and we have to, like I say every week, spread the ball around, and then it gets to a point in the game where you just kind of see what's working, and that's what you kind of showcase. Last week, again, we thought we were going to end up throwing a lot more, and we didn't, and maybe got a little conservative in the second half. But, we're going to go with whatever's working, and whether it's in the pass game or the run game or whatever. And against a team like South Range, you're definitely going to have to mix it up.
How important is it for you guys to have ball control in terms of trying to keep that high-powered offense off the field? And does a no-huddle offense really maximize all of that opportunity to have that offense off the field?
Well, if you're going no huddle, you don't believe in time of possession. So that's kind of out the window. The point is that what you got to do is move the sticks and score. And that's kind of the philosophy we're going to try and have. We're going to move the sticks and we're going to try and score. Those are the things that you have to do in a no huddle speed up offense. You can't come away empty. You got to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, I was going to say the field goals, and by the way, a great job once again by Janssens of getting a field goal, and that's a great weapon to have, especially late in the game. But with no disrespect to Janssens, field goals may not cut it on Saturday night.
No, I mean, it is a good opportunity, when you're in maybe a fourth and longer situation where it's not a high percentage to get a first down, then you have an opportunity to kick a field goal, which is probably a better percentage to get points on the board. So that's kind of how we look at it. It depends on, like the distance of the fourth down call and, how we're moving the ball and what we're doing. And, but Brandon is definitely a weapon that allows us to get some points on the board.
What is his range? Are you comfortable with him trying to drill one from, say, 40 yards out?
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent in practice at that distance, and he's made a couple 50-yarders in practice, but definitely, 40 and in, we're pretty comfortable with him.
What is it going to take for you guys defensively? And I thought, after the first touchdown, and Garrettsville-Garfield scored on their first possession, and I was looking around going, okay, let me see how well you guys are going to be able to adjust to what Garrettsville-Garfield did. And honestly, I thought your game of adjustment was brilliant because you held Garrettsville-Garfield off the scoreboard until the fourth quarter. What are you guys going to have to do to have the same success against South Range on Saturday night?
Well, I think the key is you got to put them behind the chains a little bit. You can't make them feel comfortable with just down and distance, and they're going to throw the ball, they're going to run the ball. They're not going to just stick with one thing. They're multi-talented with what they do. So you got to get them behind the sticks and hopefully make them a little bit more predictable. And then when you get a chance to make tackles, make those tackles. Don't let them run around in space because their kids are good enough to make big plays.
Dan Reardon and I had that conversation last week. First down is so important for any team because if you can have them 3 yards or less and you have your opponent at second and long, or in a perfect world, second and 12, second and 11, you've pretty much won that battle. Now hang on and force the team to punt.
Well, that's what you're hoping. If you put them in that situation and put some pressure on their offense where they feel like they have to make a play or they have to throw the ball. And if you can do those things and make a team more predictable, then that definitely helps your defense.
Paul, talk a little bit about your sophomore defensive back, Rocklin Batura. And it seems like any game that I broadcast this year, Batura was in on about half of the tackles. I mean, he's everywhere. And this kid's only a sophomore, which has to put a smile on your face.
Well, Rock is definitely he's a hybrid type player. He plays kind of like a strong safety linebacker style of defense for us. So he does have an opportunity to be in the pass game, to be in the rushing the quarterback, to stopping the run. So he has a lot of opportunities to make tackles, and he does. Last year as a freshman, he had over 100 tackles. He's on pace for that this year, and he's just a hard-nosed, get-after-it type football player, kind of a throwback type kid, and he really just really blends in with everybody. As a younger player, they have a lot of faith in him, and he's quiet and unassuming and just goes about his business, and I think players respect that.
How many of these kids are going to be quiet, knowing that you're playing a team that arguably this might be your biggest rival now?
Well, I think that our kids are excited, more than anything. They were disappointed when the schedule got changed at the beginning of the year because they enjoy playing South Range, and I think it is a nice rivalry. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and if there weren't all the restrictions, it would definitely be a sold-out house.
I was telling some people, look, I mean, the Ursuline-Poland game would be filled to the gills out in Poland, and there'd be enough people, more than enough people, that would be interested in the South Range Crestview game where that would be filled to the gills. It would be an unbelievable Saturday night. Unfortunately, we're not able to have that. Now, the good news, knock on wood to this point, no games have been canceled to this point as far as COVID-related cancellations, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you're always a little nervous that you read about them here and there popping up, but for the most part, we've been lucky, and hopefully we keep continuing. And we got to have people that pay attention to the regulations and the guidelines, and just don't take it for granted.
You guys have had that situation brew up before the season started, where your program had to be shut down for a few days. What has been the message since?
Well, when that happened to us, we immediately contacted who we needed, and they really liked how we were handling the situation. And we actually chose to close down, and I wanted to use that as a teaching tool. We didn't have to because of what we were doing, but I wanted our kids to realize, hey, if we don't follow the restrictions and follow the guidelines, we will be shut down. So it was a time in camp when it was a good time to take a couple of days off, and also a time to send a message. And I think our kids learned from it.
Tomorrow night should be a jam-packed, well, not jam-packed house, but it should be jam-packed with excitement, and we wish you well. It's should be a fun game, and hopefully Pops and I can head down there and cheer you guys on.
I appreciate it. Hope we'll see you there.
All right, man.
All right, we'll see you.
See you. Coach Cusick, the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels, and that should be a great game. It should be. And look, normally I don't show any favoritism because, I that's, but like I said, I have a nephew that is the starting quarterback for Crestview, so, and I think Coach Yeagley understands family comes first before anything else, so you'll excuse Uncle Ron if he is going to be cheering for Crestview on Saturday night. And the only reason why, again, my nephew is playing for Crestview. So I feel like I have to explain myself because I don't like the whole homer thing. But from this particular standpoint, I get a reason because, my nephew is the starting quarterback for Crestview. So family comes first. All right, 330-886-0813. We're going to hear from the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, Sean Guerrero. He's coming up in a bit. Stick around.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, we find the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, Sean Guerrero. Coach G, how are you today, sir?
Doing good. Can't complain yet.
Outstanding. All right, so last week, another day at the office, a good, solid win over a very good St. Thomas Aquinas group. Knocked them off 44-8, onward and upward into the regional semifinals, where we find a familiar foe in Mogador. You guys had an opportunity to play Mogador last year. You're playing them again this year. Coach, what have they done differently, if anything, on film that you're seeing this year from Mogador?
I think for a little bit different. They're really going to focus on their run game. They have two great backs that they're going to try to give the ball to, and inside, outside, where they're running, zone, or they're going to run toss, or a little bit of trap will end up coming. But they're going to try to establish the run game, try to win that battle up front, and then they'll take a couple shots deep.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Mogador. Are they equipped up front? Do they have a big offensive line up front to possibly take care of some holes?
Well, I think with that, I don't know if you've seen Mogador, but they do some things where they're big up front. They have a couple guys that are probably 250, 260. Then they have two smaller guys that are around 200 pounds. But they keep you off balance. They chop block you. They'll try to get under our legs a little bit, and it kind of keeps you off balance. I think it took our kids about 2 series to get the flow of the game last year to where we were comfortable in seeing it. It's so hard to end up trying to do what they do in practice. So I can't say too much. I just hope our kids come out with the same energy that they did last week. I think our kids came out with great intensity, and if we can do that, I think we'll put ourselves in a good situation.
Is there a team that you've played this year that reminds you of Mogador, Coach?
Well, I think Western Reserve would probably be the close, because they do want to establish that run game so bad. If our front seven can attack them, and I still think our challenge for this week for our defense is to win first down. If we can put them in second and longs and third and longs, I think that's a bonus for us. But if they can get positive 4 or 5 yards on first down and give them 2 or 3 downs to get a first down, I think that'll be a negative for us. So, defensively this week we tried to challenge our kids on winning first down, and if we can do that, hopefully it'll put us in a good situation.
How important is it going to be for the linebackers to be assignment sound, just in case they pop it to the outside?
Oh, and they can. Even with some of the quick traps that they end up running, and you never know who's getting the ball. Like I said, they have two good backs, so we definitely have to be assignment sound. Our guys up front, our four guys up front can't get upfield too much, because if we do, they're going to end up trapping us, and they will pop one if they can get their linemen up to our backers. We could be in trouble. So we just got to make sure we're getting hands on those. If we can get our guys to eat up some double teams and let our linebackers run, that's ideally what we want. But Mogador's a great football team with great tradition. They know how to win. So. It'll be a great game on Saturday.
Mogador put up 32 against Pie Valley. Now, Pie Valley's schedule was questionable, but you're playing what you're playing, and they had done a pretty good job defensively all year long against everyone they had played, and they gave up 32 for the first time. So there is that for Mogador's offense, but clearly on your side of the ball, when it comes to Springfield on offense, there's a significant difference, because you guys have the better threat to throw the ball down the field, and you guys are much more balanced than Mogador is. So my question, defensively, has Mogador done anything differently than the Mogador teams of the past, Coach?
Well, I don't think so. I think on third and longs and stuff, they like draws, and they like screens and things of that nature, where I think last year they threw it downfield a little bit. But they definitely have the ability to throw the football, and it also depends on the games that you play and who you're up on. At times in games, it's kind of what you need to work on, or what you want to work on, and I think they focused on that ground game. And again, with the weather like it is, and the cold coming, that's who's going to win games. When you can establish the run and keep that run game moving downfield and make sure you're gaining yards, that's how you're going to win games. That's how you're going to win championships.
Has Mogador done anything differently defensively in previous years?
I think they're playing a little bit more cover three maybe this year than they did from what we've seen last year, but they're still going to give us a single high safety. Their linebackers do a great job. Their front seven actually are very good. Linebacking core again with the back, the Knight kid, who's I think it was Defensive Player of the Year in Division 6 last year. He is by far I think the best linebacker that we will see. Even if we can continue to win, he is a terror. And like the Columbia Station game, he had to be on 25 tackles. He's just a magnet to the ball, and for us offensively, we have to get a hat on him. We got to make sure we know where he's at. We got to make sure that we get a hat on him if we want to move the ball.
How important is it going to be for your quarterback to be able to look off the safety? Because obviously, when they play the high safety, and you guys decide to throw the ball down the field, it's going to be, or at least I would think it's going to be important for your quarterback to look off the safety and go another direction if he can.
Correct. If you want to hit those verticals down the seams, you're definitely going to have to look them off. But I look in their secondary. I think that their philosophy is kind of the bend but don't break. Their corners and their safety are going to get depth, and they're going to keep everything in front of them. And then I think their outside linebackers do a great job of getting their hands on the inside receiver, knocking them off what routes they want to go, or it could knock off the timing of it. So they're a very sound defense in what they do. They really don't make a lot of mistakes, and by keeping everything in front of them, and by their front six with the linebackers, they run to the football well. So it definitely is going to be the biggest challenge for our kids, into making sure that we're gaps down and we're trying to get some movement up front. And when we get the opportunity to make a play, we can. But we're going to try to let Bo be Bo and just try to put him in good situations. But I think Bo's gotten better at doing that stuff and recognizing the coverages and knowing who to get the ball to on what concepts that we have.
Assuming it's not a dry track tomorrow night, and who knows? I mean, it could be a dry track because we're still more than 24 hours away from the game. But assuming it's not a dry track, does it favor anybody tomorrow night, Coach?
When you look at that, with the same playing field or anything, it's going to be who's going to turn the ball over, who's going to make the big mistakes. I don't really know if that's an advantage, or not for us or them or whatever. But it's going to be who's going to do those things right, who's going to win the turnover battle, and who's going to have great special teams, or who's going to be able to get the offense off the field. So I don't know. I don't think they played on grass yet this year, which might be a little bit of a bonus for us. But we'll have to see tomorrow night.
Yeah, I would think that it's a lot easier to transfer your talent from grass to turf than it is from turf to grass.
I would have to think that. You know what I mean? I just know our kids love playing here, and if we get another opportunity, I think we're going to do everything we can to try to keep our games here at Springfield and keep that home field advantage and not having to travel. But if you would see our maintenance guys here, our maintenance crew, they do a great job with our field. And when I walked down this morning, I thought it was in actually great shape for the amount of rain that we had.
Well, let me ask you, since you brought that up, obviously the OHSAA has last week or earlier this week, I beg your pardon, they've announced that regional championship games will be held at the home of the higher seed unless the home of the higher seed decides they want to go to a bigger venue. So assuming, and I don't like using that word, but let's say you guys get past Mogadore, you get to the regional championship game. Are you guys staying home for the regional finals?
I'm worried about Saturday night right now. We have not discussed that or have taken, any measures onto that. We're just worried about, focused on Mogadore and trying to beat them.
I love when you guys just won't answer these questions because it just tells me how focused you are. So that's you get an A+ for the focus, and we'll ask that question on Monday. How about that, Coach?
That's good because I'm telling you the truth. We have not discussed it. We have not talked about it. We got to make sure that we take care of business on Saturday. And like I said, with the tradition that Mogadore has and the coaches that they have, this is going to be one of the biggest challenges our kids have faced. And we better make sure that we're ready, to focus on Saturday.
You've talked about tradition in Mogadore. Look, you guys are starting to build a pretty nice tradition now at Springfield, and it filters down into the school during school. How exciting has it been for the kids at Springfield High School these days, now that you're making a deeper and deeper run into the postseason? I got to imagine that it's the buzz of Springfield High School right now.
Yeah, it is. And between our community and our students here and our teachers, they back all of our sports. I would say for Springfield, this has not been a thing. It's kind of been new. Between our soccer team, our volleyball team, and the things of that nature, they've all had great seasons. So this is just kind of a little tradition that we've had that's kind of built over, the past couple of years, and we just got to make sure we do everything we can to try to keep it going. But I know our kids are excited. I know the things that we have, or the traditions that we have coming out of the locker room, touching the rock and doing those type of things. I think our band and our cheerleaders do a great job. I think our cheerleaders were here last night decorating the halls. So it's something that it's kind of just exciting for our kids to be a part of this and to try to keep this thing going.
It's kind of fun when you have stuff like that. I mean, forget about the winning for a second. When you have a community backing the program, and then you have some people putting the adding touches on of decorating lockers and just doing the things that other schools may not do. That's part of the tradition that I wish a lot more smaller schools got into. Not just smaller schools, all schools, period.
Again, it's the backing of what goes on, and when you see our kids walking through the hallways, and like I said, and everything that like I said, the cheerleaders do for us, so the band's there to support us. It really is a group effort. We're fortunate enough to have the kids here, but I think that the parents of Springfield do a great job with their kids. We have a bunch of great young men, in our school and representing our team. So, I couldn't be in a better position. I'm grateful, for the position that I'm in.
Saturday night at Springfield High School, the Tigers taking on Mogador. This is you've seen this team now 2 consecutive years in the postseason. Is there any talk about maybe scheduling Mogador as a non-conference schedule in future years?
That discussion is not, has not come about. So we're just, it's kind of hard sometimes for us to schedule games right now just because of the teams. So we do have a week 3 that's open, but I know Mogador, does not. But we're trying to get games, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see whatever team wants to play us or tries to play us. I think it'll be a great battle, and our kids are up for the challenge. But that's next year, so we just gotta try to stay focused on what we're doing with our kids. And like I said, I think our kids are excited at this point just because of the atmosphere and just what you said, all the things that are going on with our school. So I think our kids do a great job with staying focused. And I kind of give credit to our senior group. I think they do a good job of making sure our kids are prepared. Even with the effort of our younger kids in the program and the building blocks and being able to have 55 kids. But if you would have saw our scout team this week, because they chop block and go to the ground a little bit, our kids are sacrificing themselves. Our younger kids are right now, are sacrificing themselves. For the good of the team, just trying to prepare our kids, for Saturday night. And it is a total group effort. I don't care if you're the kid who's taking 120 snaps or you're the kid who's taking every stop, on scout team. You're important to the program. You're a part of this team, and I think collectively that the selflessness that's how you win football games.
Seems to me like a game ball should be brought to the scout department if they're doing the chop blocks, getting every one of your getting every one of your defensive linemen ready for what is probably going to be coming on Saturday, and these guys normally don't do that stuff. I'm just saying, game ball to the scout department if you guys pull off the victory against Mogador Saturday night, because that's for those kids to do that's aces in my book.
I agree with you. They've done a great job, and I think all through this, and I say this to my team a lot, it seems like with all the hoops you got to jump through with the COVID and things of that nature, the kids don't get enough credit for what they're doing and going from the top to the bottom, whether it's temperature checks or wearing a mask or doing all that kind of stuff. And then you put the challenge on our kids when there's 3 inches of rain and things of that nature that we got to dive on the ground and do that kind of stuff. They've definitely accepted the challenge. They've accepted their role on what they're doing, and again, it's just it's a positive thing right now.
Coach, what's the one thing you must have to get the victory over Mogador on Saturday night?
I would say with the weather how it is, it's going to be the person who wins the turnover margin.
Fair enough. Best of luck to you Saturday night. Hopefully we have a conversation next Friday for a regional championship game.
Sounds great, Ron. Hopefully I will be talking to you.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Sean Guerrero, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers. Man, that is a great program. It just is. It is a fantastic program. And I love the fact the scouting department is doing what they need to do. That's all about attitude. Oh, okay. You got to get wet in practice to make sure that the kids are going to be good. Where do I sign up? That's all about attitude. That's why Springfield is where they are. That's why they are where they are, because they have no problems doing whatever it takes to get to this point. That's why they are where they are. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We got more coaches. Ryan Williams, the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs, coming up next. It is a Football Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit. Stick around.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before. But 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. As we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, we find the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs, Ryan Williams. Coach Williams, how are you today, sir?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on board. It's as we talked off the air, it's cold, it's football weather, and let's bring on a Saturday night in the Mahoning Valley with you guys taking on Ursuline. This should be a fun game.
Yeah, I hope it is.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this particular game. What have you seen on film about Ursuline, and what have you seen on film that you're looking at and making a priority for in order to get a victory tomorrow night in Poland?
Well, obviously they're terribly talented with their skill positions, and we got to try to limit some of those big plays. You know, that's the biggest thing that jumps out is, you know, a couple of very good athletes, and they do a good job of finding ways to get them the ball and really create some big plays, and we have to try to limit those.
The balance of Ursuline, the fact that they can throw the ball as well as run the ball effectively, is it harder to take on a team that's balanced or take on a team that's supremely talented in one facet of the game? Which one is harder, Coach?
Well, you know, I think it depends on what it is that they do. It depends on what you have and what your strengths are. You know, I mean, if you're really good at one thing and that's not what we do well, then we're going to have a hard time with that. So, you know, I guess as a general statement, I don't know if there's which one's harder. Depends on what you have as your predominant strength.
Well, one of the things we know that is predominantly a strength in Poland is your defense, number one, and number two is your running attack. And they were both on display last weekend as you knocked off the 10 seed Chagrin Falls 34-9. And boy, not many things went wrong last weekend in your victory over Chagrin Falls.
Well, you know, I guess it probably looks like that. I mean, there was a lot of things we were frustrated with, and they did a good job. You know, again, I don't know the outcome maybe doesn't look like that, but they had a nice game plan, and there were some things that we didn't execute that if we're going to be the kind of ball club we want to be, we have to find a way to make some of those plays.
Obviously, the success to Poland starts up front with that enormous offensive line, and the beautiful thing about your guys' team is very rarely are you going to be outmatched up front. I mean, you guys are that big up front where it's not going to be very often where you are going up against a team that is as big as you are along the defensive line. So you come into every single game with an advantage in terms of your offensive line, and you guys use that advantage an awful lot during the course of the game.
Well, you got to play to your strengths. Certainly, like you said, I mean, we've been blessed. We have some big guys up front, and we try to kind of feature that and run behind them and try to maintain a little bit of time of possession and slow the game better. I guess speed the game up a little bit by running behind them. Sure, that's always been kind of a hallmark here at Poland. We have been fortunate to have some nice size linemen, and we're going to try to utilize our strength.
Is that a bigger strength than normal going up against Ursuline this week? How do they come up size wise against you along the front seven, Coach?
Yeah, they have some nice size. I wouldn't say that we're much bigger than them. I mean, we have a few guys that are maybe a little taller than them, but they have some good bodies on both sides of the ball. Some hard nosed kids that have are well coached. So I wouldn't say we have a huge advantage. I mean, we might a little bit in height or so, but they're very well put together as well.
The speed factor is also a part of the game that's extremely important, especially if the opposing defense is quick to the football. What have you seen from Ursuline from a speed factor standpoint?
Well, their linebackers and secondary are exceedingly fast. I mean, they can even they're well coached. They do things the right way, but even if they make a mistake, they're able to recover and make up for it. So that's something you got to consider. That some of those perimeter plays you have to be darn near perfect in scheme and execution just to have a chance to get the ball to the perimeter.
Is it safe to say that tackle to tackle and playing the game in a proverbial phone booth is going to be the secret to success on Saturday night?
Well, I don't know if we can play the whole game in the phone booth. No, I think they're linebackers and their safety, and they'll commit those guys to the box. So that's obviously I'd love to say, we'll play in a phone booth, but I'm not sure if that's a realistic approach. Given the fact that they can adjust and they'll do things the right way too.
Well, but 8 or 9 guys in the box. Hey, look, you got a guy by the name of Senafani who can get open basically against anyone. So I would imagine they could play into your hands if they go 8 or 9 in the box because you do have talent on the outside.
Yeah, again, that's certainly one of the things we're going to look for is see how they're playing him. That's kind of the as always is referred to, that kind of the game within the game. See what they're going to do, what their plan is, and hopefully we're able to time up the right play when things are needed to get out there.
I talked with Coach Guerrero a little bit about the tradition that they've had and how it seeps into the school system where, in Springfield, the football program and all of the programs in the fall were the talk of the school. I got to imagine it's the same thing in Poland. You guys are coming off a state semifinal appearance. You're making another a reasonably deep run as we're in the regional semifinals right now. I would imagine that Poland football is the buzz around Poland High School right now.
Well, I think guys are excited to see it. It's a shame, we're not allowed to have a few more fans there. I think that would certainly create a little more excitement and atmosphere. And to your point, our boys soccer is doing very well as well. So there is kind of a pride in our fall athletics. Certainly, I mean, boys soccer is doing well. Football's still playing. So yeah. To your point, we are. There is an excitement here about fall sports here at Poland.
You brought up an interesting point, Saturday's game, and let's be honest, in a COVID-less world, first of all, a Poland-Ursuline game in Poland with no COVID, you're probably looking at the track being about 15 deep. You're getting every seat in that stadium filled. you would have a really, really large crowd. How disappointing is it from a home team standpoint that there won't be nearly as much excitement from that perspective on Saturday night?
Well, I like, the kids appreciate that atmosphere and the noise and the excitement. And so from our kids' standpoint, I feel bad that they're not getting a chance to kind of experience that, sure. But for us, the game is, what it's all about. And, we're just as excited to play regardless of who's there. But, yeah, from the kids' standpoint, I wish they were able to, have a little bigger crowd and a little better atmosphere for it, sure.
It's been a while since Poland and Ursuline have played each other. I think it's been 15 years. 2005 might have been the last year that these two teams have played each other. And it's not like kids don't know each other. They certainly some of those kids certainly know the other kids. There has to be even if this were regular season, there would have to be a special kind of meaning to this game that goes beyond the ultimately. The winner gets bragging rights. There's got to be a little bit more special to this, even with so much on the line in a playoff format like tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think at the root of it is there's that kind of parochial. There's a kind of a certain set of we have a closed community. Our kids all go to elementary school together. You have to go to, be in Poland to go to Poland schools, and we kind of pride ourselves on that. So, yeah, there's always kind of a, polar opposite approach from hey, this is how we do it. That's how other places do it. So, sure, it makes for an interesting storyline, I guess.
Coach, let's Saturday night, what is other than the turnover battle for you and the secret to Poland's success, what is the one thing that you must have outside of the turnover battle? What's the one thing that you must have go right for your team in order to get the W against Ursuline?
I would say it's the idea of limiting the big play.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Ursuline does have a tendency to go with a big play. And, let's talk a little bit about, before we let you go, with Ursuline's offense. If the run game is going, how difficult is it to defend play action for this team in particular if Ursuline establishes their run?
Yeah, that's key. I mean, you can't you can't give them three phases there. You gotta you gotta stop the run, and to give yourself a chance at defending some of that other stuff. But certainly the play action pass is a lot of times you need to commit so many to stop the run that does make you susceptible to some of those play actions. So certainly it's quite a challenge. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and they're very good at all of them. I mean, they have a couple good backs. They can run the ball. They're good up front, and obviously, as we've talked about, their wideouts and quarterback and some of the big play potential there. So yeah, it's going to be quite a defensive challenge. There's no doubt about it.
The turnover battle is it obviously you have a very nice statistic where the team that commits the fewest turnovers normally wins. In the last few weeks, we've been talking about the success of first down and how that determines whether teams win. And it's such an easy thing to disregard, but first down in this game in particular is going to be absolutely crucial for whoever wins this game. If you can consistently put Ursuline in second and long, I would think that Poland has a much better chance at winning this game on Saturday night.
Yeah, a lot of times that's that stat of like hidden yards, and that first down is certainly one of them. I mean, it's very crucial there. That a lot of times that's a team goal with a lot of places is you're are you winning first down? Are you keeping them in a 2nd and 7 or more? That's always kind of the maybe the tell there. So we'll see. But you're right, very very important the battle of first down.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you in this game against Ursuline on Saturday night. And just an editorial comment for me, I sure would love to see you guys play a regular season more often. I think it would be standing room only crowd at Poland, standing room only crowd at Stambaugh, and I think it would be so much fun.
Well, I appreciate the kind words there. Appreciate the vote of confidence, and thanks for all you guys do for us here at Poland.
Good luck to you on Saturday night, sir.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
You got it. Ryan Williams, the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs. This is going to be a hell of a game. I mean to tell you, this is going to be some kind of fun game. And it's, man, the first down is going to be huge in this game. I do. I think the first down, especially in this particular game, because of the fact that both teams, even though Poland hasn't really shown that they can – that they have the ability to throw the ball. It's not that they don't have the ability. It's the fact that they haven't shown it. They can throw the ball down the field, kids. They can. There is no two ways about that. This team can throw the ball down the field. And I think both teams can. I think first down is going to be so important for this game in particular, because if you can force the other team to be one-dimensional, by, in a perfect world, going behind the sticks and facing 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11. Okay, well, pretty good chance you're going to be throwing on second down and throwing on third down. Now, there's no guarantee. Hell, they might just, the team that's 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12 may decide to do a draw play or may decide to do a trap play and run the ball on second down. But if you can get the opposing team to 2nd and 11 or 12 or better, chances are that team's going to be throwing on second down, and depending on where they are in terms of how close they are to a first down, they may be throwing on third down as well. And I think first down is just going to be huge in this particular game, and keep an eye on that. I think this is a great game. Regardless of who you're rooting for, regardless of the style that you're hoping to see, this is just going to be a great game because these two schools both possess a damn good football program. And I think this is just going to be one of those great games. And I said what I said at the end of the interview. On an editorial standpoint, I'd love to see these two teams play each other a lot more. I just would. From a pure football fan standpoint, I'd love to see these two teams play. On a home and home, God, yes. That'd be amazing. Be absolutely amazing. But hey, look, in this particular set of circumstance, this is going to be a fun game. I just wish that everything was normal and that we would have a crowd of I gotta come up with an interesting number, and I don't even know what Poland seats. It's somewhere around 9, let's say 8,000 or 9,000 in that stadium. I would be willing to bet on a normal night, knowing full well there is a game in Springfield between Springfield and Mogador, knowing that there is a really good game being held at South Range between Crestview and South Range. Both of these games going on at the exact same time, I still think in a normal night, Ursuline and Poland on a normal night would get minimum 12,000. Minimum. At Poland. Minimum. And I might be conservative in that number. Minimum. It's a damn shame that we have COVID, and unfortunately, there's going to be a very small amount of people in the stands. That doesn't mean that you can't watch the game, though. No. Au contraire, mon frère. That doesn't mean that at all, because all you need to do is go to ysnlive.com, click on schools. Little drop box falls down, and you, if you're an Ursuline fan, you click on Ursuline. If you're a Poland fan, you click on Poland. Fill out your credit card information. By the way, using the device you're planning on watching the game from, make sure you're doing that. And you'll get an opportunity to see that game as well as the South Range Crestview game and the Springfield Mogador game, the 3 games that we're planning on doing on Saturday nights. All 3 of those games, you will have access to all 3 of those games. All you need to do is pay $9.99 and take the team that you're planning on watching. And the team that you choose, 25% of your $9.99 investment, approximately $2.50, will go right back to the athletic department of the school that you choose. But I want to just, again, I cannot stress this enough. When you are going to ysnlive.com, make sure that you are using the device that you are planning on watching the game from when it comes to filling out your credit card information. We mentioned this in the first hour. It bears repeating. I have an iPad at home. If I'm not doing anything on Saturday night and I'm unable to see my nephew play, yes, $9.99 will be invested, and I will watch the Rebels play South Range on my iPad. That's going to happen. Now, I also have an iPhone, as everyone sees. I have an iPhone, 8 Plus. I have an 8 Plus iPhone. It's a nice iPhone, but the screen is nowhere near as big as my iPad. But if I go to ysnlive.com and I fill out my credit card information using this is what I'm going to be watching the game from. So it's incredibly important. If you have an iPad, if you have a device that you're planning on using to watch the game, use that device to go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, drop box falls down, click on the team that you're interested in seeing, fill out the credit card information. Approximately $2.50 of your $9.99 investment is going to go to that school that you chose, back to the athletic department, and then Saturday night you'll be able to watch that game as well as the other 2 games that we're going to have on the YSN family. So if you're a Crestview fan and you want to watch Crestview and South Range with the device you're planning on watching the game from, go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, Dropbox falls down, click on Crestview, fill out the credit card information. $9.99 is how much it costs. Approximately $2.50 goes back to the Crestview athletic department, and you're going to be able to watch Crestview take on South Range. If that game happens to be over quickly, or God forbid the Rebels get blown out, or maybe Crestview's blowing out South Range, and you decide, okay, this game is over, let's see what else we got, you can do that. You can bounce around. Let's say it's halftime at Crestview and South Range, but the Springfield Mogador game or the Ursuline-Poland game is still going on. It's still in the second quarter. Okay, click on the Ursuline-Poland game, voila. You have the second quarter game between Ursuline and Poland. Or you can click on the Springfield-Mogador game, boop, and there you go, voila. All right, 330-886-0813. Let's get to the phone lines. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What up, brother?
Hi, Ron. I hope I'm not just taking your show in a different direction. I haven't been listening. So, hey, first of all, I did hear Vince earlier, and I'm a big supporter of YSU going to the CAA, Colonial Athletic Conference.
Yeah, it's a step down. It's a step down from the Missouri Valley Conference, but from a geographical standpoint, it makes sense.
James Madison's regularly in the championship, and if you take North Dakota State out of the conference against downstate's in, do they win the national championships? They win.
If you take North Dakota State and James Madison away from both conferences, the Missouri Valley Athletic Conference is head and shoulders above the CAA. It just is. Okay. It just is. I mean, look, I understand from your perspective because geographically it makes far more sense to be in the CAA than it is in the Missouri Valley Athletic Conference, but the Missouri Valley Athletic Conference is night and day better than the CAA.
Yeah, it's a grind in your schedule, which can be a positive and it can be a negative, and it's also a grind in travel. And it's just a combination that can wear on a team throughout the year. So,
No, I agree. I agree from the travel perspective. There's no two ways about that.
Because the East Coast is a lot easier to get to. All the schools on the East Coast all have nice little airports. You fly in. They all have nice little hotels in the Pacific. You know, where are you going to go? Villanova, Philadelphia, pretty easy to get in and out of. Richmond, pretty easy to get in and out of. So, I just throwing that out. No big deal. Hey, by the way, one thing I noticed about Rutgers, and somebody said something about Rutgers keeping their guys home. Rutgers is doing more than keeping their guys home. Rutgers is all over the state of Ohio, picking off the guys who aren't quite the blue chippers, and they're doing a pretty good job of doing that.
Oh yeah, there's multiple schools other than Rutgers that have done a nice job of getting the some of the 3-star athletes and 4-star athletes. Kentucky's another one, and I think that you can credit Vince Marrow for that. Vince has done an amazing job for Coach Stoops down there when it comes to recruiting in Ohio. Vince has done an amazing job for Coach Stoops.
Hey, how many of the teams tonight are playing on? I actually just was driving around and, pulled a car out of it's muddy out there.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 teams tonight are playing on turf. The only team that's not playing on turf tonight is McDonald. They'll go to Lucas. Lucas is natural grass.
I don't care how good the facility was when it started. It's going to be a quagmire.
And we're not talking about Family Guy quagmire either. Giggity, giggity, giggity.
That was good. I didn't even mean to promote that, but
hang on a second. Hey, Quagmire, what do you think about tonight's ball game? I think it's going to be a muddy mess, Peter. Giggity, giggity, giggity. All right, we're done with that.
That's the good stuff, my friend. Hey, you guys touched on some the other day, and I don't want to go too much detail, but first of all, I missed the end of Emmanuel's call the other day, and it was in and out. You seem to be going in and off the air. What did he say about the game Harding-Hudson tonight?
It's going to be a tough game, obviously, but obviously whoever wins the game. I mean, unless Benedictine has the secret recipe of patenting kryptonite, they're not getting past Hoban. So, I mean, whoever wins the game has to play Hoban.
Let me tell you one thing I know for sure: Hoban is not looking past Benedictine.
No.
And any of the teams who entered the playoffs looking to get to Hoban made a bad mistake this year. You can't look past who the team is in front of you. And I know Hoban has got their head down and are focusing on Benedictine. Benedictine's quarterback, a kid named Schultz, has missed the last 3 weeks. He's a big reason they were even staying in the game against Hoban earlier in the year. So, and the other thing is Hoban come off an enormous win against St. Ed's, and they lost focus in that last game. And trust me, Terrell's corrected that.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's you in the playoffs, you got to have a one game at a time mentality, and it's tough when we have media people like myself and others that are looking down the road because that's our job. We look at the future matchups, the potential future matchups, but the reality is, if you're playing in the postseason, the only team you got to be concerned with is the team in front of you, because one off night and you're screwed 50 ways of Sunday.
Yeah, there are no mulligans in football.
This is true.
So, hey, the other thing you guys discussed earlier in the week, and I wanted to comment on, and I don't want to make it specific about one school, but a lot of the schools, I really enjoy watching the schools who build a culture in their schools, a culture of excellence in their programs, and it permeates all programs. You find the ones that are doing good academically are also doing very good athletically. And I think it's about the way that the system in those schools nurtures all the children and nurtures participation from all the children in all the activities they can produce in. And I just wanted to throw that out. I'm going to reference one, and I'm not going to do it by name. They're still in the football playoffs, but they won a state championship in golf. Their boys are still in the soccer district championship game. Their girls are in the state soccer district championship game. and the girls are in the district volleyball state championship game. So I'm just saying, and it's not because they do get some premier athletes, but it's because of the nurturing that these kids get in those programs. I've seen too many programs where children are taught and encouraged to step over the back of their teammates as opposed to, offer their teammates a hand up. And I just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, putting a winning culture together for a school system, it's a lot tougher than losing your winning culture and reverting back to a culture where not many things go right for you. It's difficult to have or develop a winning culture, but man, once you do, it is just so much fun to watch the night and day difference, not just in one sport, but just in school in general, and watching the attitude changing in school, away from school, just the attitudes of the kids changing in a positive way.
Across the board. I want to pat one school system on the back after I maybe kicked them a little bit. The team to watch for next year, I really like the Fitch team next year in football. But Fitch also has a breadth in their athletic program. They're good in a lot of programs, and they've got a lot of talent coming up in the freshman-sophomore class. They're loaded.
It's a fun school system, too. I really like Fitch. Their school system is outstanding. I think that their programs, not just in football, but all of their programs are solid, and the kids have a great attitude about things. And I think that next year, I agree with you, Tony. I think that Fitch came onto the scene this year, and they did a really, really nice job. But I mean, let's be honest. 2021 was the year that I was thinking that this program was going to get the maximum abilities from. And I think Fitch is going to be a very, very difficult team to beat in 2021 in football.
Let me throw this out. And the coach needs to start walking the hallways, which I'm sure he does. Probably their best receiver for the team next year didn't even play football this year, and I'll just throw that out there. Just because I know the kid from somewhere else. The kid is just a special kind of a Golden Tate kind of athlete. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. It'll be fun tonight. It'll be interesting. How many games do you see? How many local teams do you see advancing?
Well, I mean, you got 8 in the YSN family. You got 9 overall. So let me ask you. I mean, how many teams do we got tonight? We got 4 teams tonight. 3 in the YSN family. How many get out of the victory tonight?
I've softened on Harding. It just depends. I think one of the bad things that happened to Harding this week, or in the last week, is that Hudson got punched in the nose by Riverside. I think they were looking past Riverside, and they survived that game. So I think they'll be a little more focused this week than they were last week. And they're home. But it's a nice trip up 303 for Harding, so it's not like a 2-hour trip that McDonald has to make.
That's true.
So I give Harding a puncher's chance. It's going to come down to just like Canfield. Who's the more disciplined team and who takes care of the ball? And I just think Harding's playing as a really good team right now. I give them a puncher's chance. Canfield, I give them a puncher's chance. I think some of the ratings actually have them better rated than Streetsboro. I think Streetsboro is a very undisciplined team, so that could bite them in the rear. So,
well, and the other thing, Tony, that I found fascinating is Streetsboro has played 8 games, and all 8 games have gone mercy rule, where they have not played 4 complete quarters of football to this point, and they're going to play 4 complete quarters tonight. They're not mercy ruling Canfield. And I heard that against a team a few years ago, and they were able to regroup in the fourth quarter and hold on to win a game. There's a chance. I think the emotional aspect, I think the physical aspect, they'll be fine because they have enough athletes, Streetsboro I'm talking about, across the board, that they'll be able to physically handle it. I think mentally is where
when you haven't been tested and you're halfway through the fourth quarter in an equal game, well, that's when you start questioning yourself. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Who else plays tonight?
Kennedy's at home to Dalton, and McDonald's on the road to Lucas.
For some reason, I really dislike Dalton because if your city spelled Dalton, and you just pronounce it Dalton, you deserve to lose.
Hey, how do you feel about the people in Vienna that should be pronounced Vienna then?
Oh, Vienna, Medina. I can go all Lima, North Lima out there. We can go all over it like that. We pronounce things a lot different around here in Ohio.
Yeah, when I was in Tennessee, there's a village to the north and slightly east of Jackson that should be pronounced Milan, and they pronounce it Milan.
Tell you a quick story. My mom was born in Texas, and she grew up a lot of different places. I was born in Washington, D.C., and my family lived in this city called Vienna, Virginia. My mom lived adjacent to a town named Vienna, Texas, when she was younger. And she moved to Ohio. She thought she had moved to hell. She moved to Ohio and into Howland, next to a community called Vienna. Well, good luck to all the teams tonight. Just keep your head down and keep grinding. Who else plays tonight? There's 4 teams. I want the other teams.
Well, Kennedy's playing Dalton, and McDonald's playing Lucas.
I think Kennedy beats them. I think Kennedy was playing an underrated team last week, and I think they played fine.
Yeah.
They're home. It's a 90-minute drive for Dalton, probably. They're over on the other side of Massillon, I think. So
yeah, they're over by Worcester, actually.
Haul.
Yeah.
What's that?
They're over by Worcester, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, I give Kennedy a shot. Hey, you talking about Cam Holloway, and I think I look at Cam Holloway, and you know who he reminds me of as an athlete, a football player. Larry Zonka. If you ever see clips, just watch this kid.
Okay.
He's like running, and he could run away. He's looking for people to run over the whole game.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And they have watch this team. They have a freshman quarterback who's not starting because Cam Holloway plays quarterback.
Yeah.
But when they want to put Cam Holloway at receiver to get some more weapons in the offense, they got a freshman who's got as good an arm as anybody in this area. Probably 6'3", tall kid, and I'd be shocked if he wasn't their punter. Also as a freshman, because I saw him punt a few years ago as a 7th or 8th grader, and this kid could have been punting for the high school at that time. So
wow.
So they've got some talent, they've got some depth. So
no doubt.
Hey, good luck to all these guys. I'm going to run. I'm in the middle of something, but great talking to you, my friend.
All right, see you, Tony. 330-886-0813. Cam Holloway, as far as I'm concerned, he's a good one. I mean, he's up there. There's no two ways about that. It was when we talked with Coach Prologo from Warren JFK yesterday, and he made mention that Cam would be able to start just anywhere in this area. I have no doubt that he would. No question that he would. He would definitely be a starter anywhere, whether it be on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. He's special. No two ways about that. All right, 330-886-0813. I'm going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to hear from the head football coach of the Ursuline Irish. Dan Reardon will be joining the show coming up in a bit. Stick around. It's a Football Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at bairdbrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Coach Dan, how are you today, sir?
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. Let's go to the phone lines over in the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, where we are joined by the head football coach of the Ursuline Irish, Dan Reardon. Dan, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Last week, football's flying all over the place. Just a typical football in the Valley with you guys and West Branch. Man, it was fun to see. Although from a coaching standpoint, it had to be nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah, they were definitely the best passing attack that we've seen this year. And give them a lot of credit. They put together a heck of a game plan, and their quarterback, we knew he was good, and I have a whole other level of respect for him after playing against him.
Okay, so you guys are going to be taking on a team that, well, has not shown the aerial circus that West Branch has, and well, they have a huge offensive line, so they really don't need to show the aerial circus that West Branch has. Although when they need to throw the football, they can in the Poland Bulldogs. Talk a little bit about what you have seen on film that separates Poland maybe from some of the other teams that you've played this year, Coach.
Yeah, just I would say that their commitment and also ability to run the football. They're a team that they like to play ball control. They play great defense. They're very, very sound in special teams, and and you combine that with the ability to run the football very well. It can create a long night for their opposition if not managed properly. So, it's a completely different animal than what we faced last week. Both very, very good football teams, but completely contrasting styles. So, that's what the playoffs bring. When you're out of league play and you start to play teams that you don't normally play, you see a lot of different styles of football. And one thing's for sure, that there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways to be successful in this game. And, if you look at last week compared to this week, the challenge we have in front of us, I don't know if you'll see a better example.
How important is it for the linebackers this week to be very active in their particular station, if you will? How important is it for those guys to be sound, technically sound, and fill the holes as quickly as possible?
Well, it's not just the linebackers; it's our entire defensive front, and we also need to get the safeties involved to stop the run, and that. They have some formations where they have extra backs in the backfield, and they use the tight end a lot, and what they're doing essentially is creating extra gaps, with those guys, and because of that, you have to get extra hats involved in stopping the run. So, it's a combination of all three levels: D-line, secondary, and linebackers, but. The thing we have to do, and we spoke about this last week, is if we can get them off schedule and get them into, second and long, and rather than second and medium or second and short, that'll go a long way to give us the ability to have success. And then on the other side, we obviously have to be efficient when we have the ball, and if we do that, that'll be our best chance of winning.
Given the fact that they have not thrown the ball all that often, and it's not that they can't throw the ball, but it's that they have not thrown the ball because the schedule or the place in the game has dictated that because they've had that much success against the run. How important is that for you guys to essentially dare Poland to throw the ball right out from the get-go and put 8 or 9 or 10 guys in the box and say, you're not beating us this way, go ahead and try to beat us another way?
Well, I think, it doesn't matter if we're playing Poland or whoever the opponent is. The idea defensively is to force them to beat you left-handed, as the phrase goes. And Poland is really good at running the football. So if we don't stop their run, it's not going to matter what we do against the pass. And, winning first and second down gives you a chance to force them into throwing situations. And, it's not their bread and butter. As you said, it's not that they can't do it, but it's not what they want to do. And if we can dictate when they are passing rather than dictating and using play action and so forth, if we can dictate that by getting them into third and long, that tips the advantage to the defense, at least from the perspective of knowing what they likely have to do in order to get the first down. So, you play the percentages and all the, scouting that you do and film study that you do. And, we spend all day on Sundays inputting data and running reports and, for down and distance situations and all those different things. And that's when it comes into play. But if you don't get them off schedule, then they're just calling whatever they want to call, and they have the advantage.
Dan Reardon, the head football coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, I know that broadcasters love to talk to each other, especially when we're talking with folks from that broadcast games from the opposing team. I surely know that you coaches love to talk to each other as well. Given all of that, what did you see on film from Poland defensively that might have raised your eyebrows a little bit more in talks and conversations with other coaches about Poland's D?
Yeah, I think just they're very, very sound, and they play great team defense. You don't see chinks in their armor, so to speak. They don't give up very many points. They are very, very gap sound and assignment sound, and again, they play great team defense. They're big and physical, and they run the football well, and they do all the things that, as a coach, you try to preach to your own defense. So, that's the thing I think that just jumps out. That they don't give up very many big plays, and that leads to them not giving up very many points. So that's a challenge. Just it's twofold. If we have the opportunity for a big play, we need to make it. And then also we need to be able to establish some drives. And that's where they've been good, is just getting people getting offenses stopped and forcing them to punt. And we need to take advantage of both opportunities, whether it's keeping a drive going, on a short yard situation, or taking advantage of a big play opportunity, when we catch them with the right call versus what we have called. And we have to exploit that when given the opportunity.
The defense being as good as they are, I suppose the recipe for this is keep that defense on the field as long as possible, and part of that goes back to the Ursuline defense forcing Poland to as many 3-and-outs as possible to get back to get that Poland defense back on the field. The time of possession, I'm guessing the time of possession is going to be right up there along with turnovers and the first down battle.
So, that's an interesting point. And, I would guess that they really, really stress time of possession with their football team, just the style of play that they have. That is not something that we talk to our team about at all. What we talk to our team about is being efficient on both sides of the ball. We are not a team that huddles, so, inherently we're going to be a little bit faster than a team that does huddle. So to us, the time of possession isn't as critical as points per possession and how frequently we're scoring points. We spoke last week, and last week I mentioned the number, usually have about 12 drives throughout the course of the game, give or take, and that's exactly what we had last week. And with those 12 drives, what we look at is how many times do we finish with points, and is it a field goal, is it a touchdown, what is it? And to us, that's the most important metric. If you're finishing drives with points, then time of possession isn't nearly as critical. But if you're not finishing drives with points, all of a sudden it is. So, whatever that's worth. That's kind of a long answer to a short question, but it isn't something we emphasize all that much. We talk about getting 3-and-outs and winning first down, and if you do that, the clock is not a factor. If you don't do that, the clock is going to be a factor, but it's going to be a factor because if you don't get stops, they're scoring points.
Okay, well, let me ask you then. You had 12 possessions. You scored on 6 of those possessions, 5 touchdowns and a field goal. So you're at 50%. Does 50% scoring rate beat Poland on Saturday night?
Does 50% scoring beat Poland? That's a good question. It depends on what their percentage is. How's that for an answer?
I feel like I need to just put the I'm Dan Reardon and I approve this message kind of thing toward the end of that answer, Coach.
Yeah, there you go. So here's the thing: if we are scoring, 50% of the time this deep in the season, this deep in the playoffs, then I'm going to feel pretty good about our chances to win the football game. So can I guarantee it's a win against Poland? I can't say that, but if we're scoring 50% of our drives, that's going to add up to a lot of points, and we're going to have a really good chance of winning any football game, whether it's Poland or Youngstown East or Cardinal Mooney or whomever we're playing.
Dan Reardon joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And Coach, I brought this up with Coach Williams, and I'll bring it up to you. It is such a shame that we're in a COVID world right now, and as we speak, Governor DeWine in his press conference that he has just announced 3,845 cases of COVID, which is a brand new record as the cases are continuing to go up, and it's just an ugly reminder of the environment that we have right now. Now, knock on wood, no games have been canceled to this point, COVID related, but it's still disappointing in that a beautiful stadium like Poland High School is not going to be filled to the brim with about 15 or 20 deep around the track to watch this game. And And look, from an editorial standpoint, I wish you guys would play Poland a whole lot more often than every 15 years. But this is coming from a fan of the Mahoning Valley and a high school football fan of the Mahoning Valley. But especially in this particular instance, I wish we were playing in a normal atmosphere tomorrow night, because I don't even think 12,000. I think 12,000 is way too conservative a number for these two teams on a normal Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree. It would be something to see. It would definitely be standing room only. I don't know how many seats Poland Stadium has, but I've been there a number of times, and it for sure would be standing room only. And the good news is that YSN benefits in a year like this, right, from a business model.
Oh, there's no two ways about that. I can't wait to see how many people we are going to be having watching this game, as well as Crestview and South Range and Springfield and Mogador. Business should be damn good on Saturday night in YSN country.
Hey, tell DJ he can take me out for an adult beverage or something as a thank you. How's that?
I think that he would probably be pretty good at that. There's no two ways about it. We'll just make sure Coach Leslie's not along for the ride.
There you go.
Hey, Coach, always a pleasure. Good luck in your game Saturday night against Poland. And man, whoever wins this ball game, you got your hands full next week, and we won't talk about it because I know you guys like to go 1 week at a time. But it's look, Division 4-13, like Division 5 and 6 and D3 and D2. I mean, when you get to this point, doesn't matter who's on the other side of the bracket. You're going to have to play a really good game, regardless where you are in the tournament. From here on out, you got to play a really good, technically sound game. Otherwise, you find yourself on the sidelines for the rest of the year.
That's right, and that's what makes it fun, and that's why it's a big game when the day before you're already starting to get butterflies a little bit, and I always joke with my assistants when I get to the point where I don't still have butterflies in my stomach before a game, it's time for me to hang it up, and I still get them, and when you start getting them, 48 hours before, 36 hours before, it's a big week, and we're excited. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game. It's great for the area to have two teams, local teams, playing this deep, and I know it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Coach, always a pleasure. Good luck on Saturday night against Poland.
Sounds great. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, see you. Dan Reardon, head football coach of the Ursuline Irish, checking in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. It's going to be a great game. Like I said, in a perfect world, God, I wish this game could have capacity at Poland. Because honest to God, 12,000, that might be low. If on a normal night, that might be low. For this particular game, yeah, I'm thinking that might be a little low for the crowd. But unfortunately, we are where we are, and it ain't going to be changing anytime soon. Not with the high number of COVID cases that are continuing to be cranked out in the state of Ohio. Man, this has got to get under control. Forget about football for a second. This number has got to get under control because come basketball season, we had Rob Schmidt on yesterday talking about the YSU basketball, and that's the college aspect of it. The high school aspect of it is something that we're going to be super concerned with here at YSN because that's where our bread and butter is. It's one thing to have 15% of capacity of a 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 seat stadium. We're not talking stadiums now with basketball. The Struthers Fieldhouse is probably the biggest facility in this area, and it seats 4, 5 maybe. That's the top tier. So you can only imagine how few fans are going to be allowed to go to games during basketball season, and that's going to be a tough pill, a real tough pill, unless we get these numbers turned around. All right, we're going to take a time out on the other end. Dan Yeagley from South Range will be joining the show. Stick around. More to come on this Football Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
To Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet. For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Let's get to the hotline where we bring in the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley. Coach, how are you today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, it's Friday, even though we play Saturday, it's still Friday night, and it's football season, and we're still playing. It's a wonderful time of year.
Okay, now you guys have had an opportunity to get used to playing on Saturdays, but how weird is it that you're not playing on Friday evenings?
It is weird. I mean, we're getting used to it. We're still trying to recover from that bye week. I didn't like it at all. It was crazy trying to adjust our schedule and get the kids' mindset right and everything else. But, you know, we're trying to get used to it. We still have, it's still weird. Here we are going out on Friday night, and we're going to go home and watch or listen to some games. Watch them on YSN Live, obviously. Watch a couple games there or whatever. But it's a whole different feeling, and I don't know. Like I said, I'd rather play on Friday nights, but like I said, we're still playing, which is awesome.
Well, you guys did start out slow a couple of weeks ago when you took on Harrison Central out of Cadiz, but you piled it on them, 55-14, and last week a dominating performance as you knocked off Beechwood, 49-16, and now you get to take on a team that you guys are way too familiar with, a great rivalry that's been developed in the last 10 or 15 years between South Range and Crestview, and familiarity is a really cool thing. Has Crestview done anything differently this year than what they've done in previous years?
No, they're still doing the same thing. Coach Cusick does a great job, and it's his system. I mean, it's the program. The kids play hard. They play every game just really hard, really aggressive. Coach Cusick knows how to adjust his offense to make the defense, put the defense in trouble, and he does a great job. I mean, the last 2 weeks we were playing unknowns, and we got familiar with them during the first quarter, and we were able to adjust as the game went on. But we can't do that this week because Coach Cusick will put it to us if we don't come out early and play hard early. And it's tough. I mean, they're good, and they're going to give us our best game ever, and I know that. And it's going to be a typical South Range Crestview football game.
Knowing that both teams know each other extremely well, is it going to bring out the best in each other Saturday night?
Yes, I think it will. I think you're going to see the best of both teams. I know that them, like us, are a little banged up. Both teams are banged up, but the next person up has to perform, and they're going to come out ready to play, and we're going to come out ready to play. And like I said, we know what they're going to do, and they know what we're going to do, and it's a matter of taking care of all the little things and playing our best game for 48 minutes.
Yeah, and then you take a look at some of the little things from during the course of the year, and obviously this isn't little. This is a pretty big advantage to you guys, and that's the division that you guys are in. You've played up all year long because you're the smaller school in the Northeast states. Does that schedule give you guys a bigger advantage from this point moving forward in the tournament, assuming you guys move forward in the tournament?
I think it gave us an advantage from the very beginning once we got into the playoffs on, not just this game, but the previous two games. I mean, against Harrison Central, we saw a great quarterback, and, we've seen quarterbacks like him, like the Leonard kid from Niles, who's a great quarterback, and then all of a sudden we played last week, Beechwood, and we saw big linemen and great skill kids, which is similar to what we saw against Poland. So it helps us understand what we're going against a little bit more. It helps us understand that, guess what? We played great teams. Now we're just playing another great team. I told a reporter the other day, I think our league is almost like a playoff game every week. You're playing these great teams and with great coaches and great players, and just like in the playoffs, like right now, we're playing a great team in Crestview filled with great players, and they have a great coach, and it's going to be just like every other game that we played all year, and really looking forward to it.
Is there a team in the Northeast 8 that is similar to Crestview?
I could throw a Girard out there. They do some similar things. Niles does some similar things. Every team's a little bit different here or there. Matter of fact, I can throw Jefferson. Jefferson does some things similar to what Crestview does. I know Coach Rankin has looked at Crestview, some of the things he does, and adopted some of those. We got a lot of similarities, but Crestview is a combination of a few of them, and we got to just play heads-up football, and we got to be disciplined and do all the little things right for us to be victorious.
One thing that you guys have to do, if there is one thing that is a definite something that South Range must do in order to beat Crestview, what would that be, Coach?
Well, you can go with all the cliches. You got to win the turnover battle, everything else. But I think this is a cliche too. We got to win the battle of the trenches. Our offensive line has to give our skilled kids time and time to throw the ball and gaps to run through, and our offensive line has to win that battle, and our defensive line has to win the other battle. I mean, we got to be able to slow down their offense, because if you don't slow them down, they're going to put up a bunch of points, and it's going to be a battle of the trenches. And there's not really a size advantage. We match up pretty much size-wise as they match up size-wise. It's just a matter of execution and doing all the little things right, and making sure that everybody does their job.
You don't want to get into a track meet with these guys, do you?
No, I don't want to get into the track meet with them because I know they can run. I've seen them run track. No, don't want to get into that, and that's why we got to get them, try to get them on the ground before they get started, and hopefully, like I said, everything goes our way, and we can be in control of the game
later on as the game goes on.
One would think with the no-huddle offense that they run, if you guys are able to keep that defense on the field, a 3-and-out on a no-huddle offense doesn't take a whole lot of time off the clock. You can get that defense exhausted pretty quickly in the game if things start going your way.
Oh, we can, and we do what we do. I mean, we're going in this game saying, okay, what have we done the last 9 weeks, and we're going to do the same thing this week. I mean, we're going to play South Range football. We're going to play South Range defense, South Range offense. We're going to try and, like I said, we got a couple big play people too, and we're going to try and get them the ball, and hopefully they can make some big plays during this game also.
All right, you got some practice to get to. Before we let you go, it's going to be nice for you guys. And look, I mean, both teams play on turf. I talked with Coach Q earlier today. He's more than happy to get off of the grass of Garrettsville Garfield last week, and I was there, and it got a little ugly toward the end of the game as far as the grass goes. But with the beautiful thing with the turf, it's not an equalizer for anybody. If you play well on the turf, then you're going to play well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I know that's I watched that game, and I think the score would have been a little bit more lopsided if it was on turf, because I think Crestview controlled the game pretty much, and it is an equalizer. I watched our girls soccer game last night, and all of a sudden we're playing on turf, and they're used to playing on grass, and it was a completely different ball game, because turf does make a difference no matter what sport. And I'm thankful we have it. I'm thankful for the generous people here at South Range that we have such a nice facility.
I'm waiting for that drone to be flown during the course of a game, though, Coach. I'm serious.
I know we're not allowed. High school won't let us, but I think we can get up there high enough that they won't know. They have to zoom in a little bit.
I was telling DJ, we need to have a drone cam where the drone is up there high enough, but with our luck, one of the quarterbacks would fire a ball right at the drone, and then it would hit one of your coaches, and then that would be the end of that.
Oh, I know. That'd be our luck.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you. I'm hoping to be there Saturday night, and congratulations on the success to this point.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for YSN and everybody for supporting us. I appreciate it.
All righty. Dan Yeagley, the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, as they get set to take on Crestview on Saturday night. And, again, man, these 3 games, good Lord. If only we had a normal atmosphere, you would be looking at 3 sellout crowds and then some. Man, these are going to be some fun games Saturday night. Make no bones about that. And as Coach Reardon said, the people that are going to be and should be smiling right here, the folks at YSN, because again, it bears repeating, if you don't have a ticket to any of these 3 games, or any of the games tonight. Now, let's not just talk about Saturday night. Any of the games tonight. If you don't have a ticket to the Canfield-Streetsboro game, the Dalton-Kennedy game, the McDonald-Lucas game, if you don't have a ticket to either one of those games, if you don't have a ticket to Saturday night's games with Ursuline and Poland, Crestview and South Range, Mogadore and Springfield, you simply go to ysnlive.com. And using the device you're planning on watching the game from, make sure that you do that because it's important. You'll go to ysnlive.com, click on schools. The little drop box will fall down with all the schools in the YSN family. Choose the school that you're looking to watch. And that's important because when you fill out the credit card information, your $9.99 investment, 25% of that, approximately $250, will go right back to the school's athletic department of your choice. So if you're a South Range fan and you aren't fortunate enough to get a ticket to the game between South Range and Crestview, you go to ysnlive.com using the device you're planning on watching the game from. Click on schools, Dropbox falls down, click on South Range, and approximately $2.50 from your $9.99 investment will go back to the South Range athletic department. And that's huge. That's definitely huge. And frankly, I'm going to be real curious, numbers-wise, how many hits we get on tonight and tomorrow night. I'm going to be real curious as to how many people are going to be jumping on board and purchasing one of our games tonight or tomorrow night. If I were to make a guess, and this is simply an educated guess from my perspective, just going to say an educated guess, it's either going to be Ursuline, Poland, or Crestview South Range. And I say this because you're looking at two schools from our area that are going to be doing this. So I think Canfield will bring a ton of people to their game against Streetsboro on ysnlive.com. I think that's going to happen. I think that we will have more than a handful of Kennedy fans in Kennedy Nation and McDonald, especially on a night like tonight. I mean, okay, if you have a ticket to the game going up to Lucas, good luck. And enjoy the trip out there, and make sure that you're all bundled up. And that goes for any game that you're planning on attending tonight. Make sure you are bundled up. But if you don't have a ticket to the game, I mean, just saying, from the comforts of your home, where you don't have to worry about drinking coffee and hot chocolate to warm your bones, you can watch the game from the comforts of your home or from the comforts of a place that happens to serve adult beverages, Italian American Club in Leetonia. I'm just saying, you're a winner either direction. And I'm going to be curious. I'll be curious to see how many people are going to be signed up for our games. But if I were to make a guess, I'm going to say Ursuline Poland gets probably the most hits this weekend. I'm just going to take a guess. But I will say this, South Range and Crestview will not be that far behind. Honestly, I think South Range and Crestview is going to be within 10 people. Within 10 hits. I think that Crestview and South Range will be within 10 views or purchases, pay-per-view purchases. This is going to be fun. It just is. It's going to be all kinds of fun. All right, 330-886-0813. Take a time out. Be back with more. It is a Football Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a new or slightly used car, you need to sashay your tuchus over to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. I've said this before. I'll say it again. If Greenwood Chevrolet were a sports franchise, they would be a dynasty. Think about this for a second. Their sales department, incredible. Their finance department, incredible. Their service department, which is huge, especially if you're purchasing a car and you have the GM warranty, and you got to bring it back to the service department. Service department's unbelievably good. Win, win, win. Greatness, just greatness. Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet. They are sponsoring Running Point on ysnlive.com. Give me a timeout. We're back in a bit. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known to
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rue gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. Let's go to the phone lines. Champ, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's up, brother?
How are you doing this exciting weekend ready to happen?
Oh, you know, I'm having fun. Having a good old time.
Yeah, well, I figured if I didn't get in the conversation, and might as well not watch any football this weekend.
Yeah.
Go on, because it's going to be a big weekend.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, high school, real quick, and just off the top of my head, I'll tell you the teams I think will advance. I think Harding's going to win. I just don't, I'm kind of still looking at last week's game that Hudson had the one bigger. And I think Harding, the second half of the Fitch game, if they carry that over defensively, that should be making it interesting. I think they could do that and maybe win that game.
Well, honestly, I think they're playing their best football. I don't think there's any two ways about that. They're playing their best football. The last time they lost was the last time they played Fitch, and since then they've been playing some good football. So it's they have a shot. They definitely have a shot against Hudson.
Yeah, typically when you play a bad first half and a really good second half, that second half a lot of times carries over to the next game. So hopefully it'll happen. But I have obviously one Ursuline or Poland's going to come out of there. I think South Range is going to win this game. It's going to be very interesting. But what's interesting about Crestview and South Range, all these teams since the expansion that have won state titles, and then you have Crestview and South Range, who amazingly 22 seasons. I mean, South Range has been in the playoffs 15 times, Crestview 16, and the only time they both missed the playoffs the same year. It happened one time, 2002. So these are teams that constantly are in, but just cannot get out of this Division 5, Region 17. And it's funny because they've lost the same teams. South Range lost a bunch to JFK, Ursuline, Kirtland, Mogador. Crest's lost to South Range a lot. Crestview, Ursuline, Smithfield. They just can't get past this region, these two teams, and get to the state finals, semifinals, and see what happens. But if there's two teams that deserve some type of championship, it's these two. They've really worked hard, but they just can't get out of that region a lot of times.
Yeah, South Range got out of the region one time, and it was, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, and they lost to Pemberville Eastwood in the state semifinals. But you're right. I mean, I think South Range has been to the regional championship game a few more times than Crestview has. I think Crestview's been to the regional finals twice, and I want to say South Range has been there four times. I might be wrong with the numbers, but it's and these two teams normally run into each other at some point in time, and this is it's a series in which these two teams have had winning streaks. where South Range started out and they won like 9 or 10 straight games, regular season and postseason against Crestview. And then Crestview turned it around and won 6 or 7 straight games against South Range. And now South Range is on their winning streak this time. And I don't know what the number is, but these two teams have it's been a series of streaks. And right now, South Range has had the better of it in the last few years. And we'll see if Crestview is up to the challenge Saturday night.
Yeah, they were kind of, like 3 years ago, kicked off the Mahoning Valley Planet when they got kicked out of their respective leagues, and they kind of roamed around with this weird independent schedule until they're starting to get back into playing local teams. But they've been it's been interesting. But I think Springfield and JFK I expect. So I got 5. The game that I just can't judge right now is because I can't compare them in Streetsboro and Canfield. I can't use other teams and their style of plays. Unfortunately for Canfield, we'll know more about them if they win because the team if Chardon beats New Philly, then we'll know because that's the team that Canfield play. There's a common thing there, but I have no clue. Streetsboro, Canfield, who's going to win this game? I can't even compare them.
Okay, well, we got 8. We have 8 YSN teams, 9 teams overall, and I'm looking at this, and you're guaranteed 2 because you get 2 all-local matchups, Ursuline and Poland, Crestview and South Range. So we're guaranteed 2 teams into the regional championship game, and then you have 4 or 5 local teams against out-of-town teams. And I'm thinking that we get 5 teams into the regional championship. So the 2 gimmies, the Ursuline Poland winner, the Crestview South Range winner, and of the 5 games in which a local team is playing an out-of-town team, I'm going to say that we win 3 of those 5.
Yeah, and Lucas, I always think of that movie Lucas. So I don't actually think of them as the football team, but they won the region last year, so you got to consider them a good team. So I don't know if McDonald can beat them, but yeah, I really didn't know about Lucas till like 3 or 4 years ago. I just know the movie Lucas of that one kid that was kind of a cute movie. But anyways, but yeah, that's my thing for high school football. But I want to quickly talk too about this YSU conference. I think the CA would be better, and I'll give you a couple of reasons. First of all, I traveled once on a charter flight when they played South Dakota State, Youngstown there and back. I'm telling you, it's like get on the plane, then you get on a bus, and the bus ride was almost longer than the plane ride. I mean, it was a brutal traveling for me. I was dead tired, and that scheduling is too much. Why couldn't they be like a Clemson? And then, but as you know, in Clemson does in the ACC, they play a really tough Division I school early on the road usually. Why can't YSU schedule 1 or 2 of these teams from the Missouri Valley to keep them on the schedules to make the, tough them up a little bit and then play in a much easier conference?
I mean, you could, but how many of these teams are going to be guaranteed to play YSU in a non-conference format?
Well, right, but they might. If they got maybe it's like Northern Iowa is kind of a rivalry, I guess you can say that. But that's what I would suggest. But the traveling it's the bottom line, and the expense traveling, it's just brutal. It's just, I mean, they got to have. They're the only team that has to play this schedule. Like Notre Dame doesn't do it this year, but normally Notre Dame does. But they got to travel more miles than most teams take Hawaii out of the equation. But it's incredible the travel they have to do.
No, there's no 2 ways about that. I mean, it's tough. I mean, the travel is a serious negative when it comes to this conference. There's no question about that. The travel is a negative.
Now, I got to tell you, this whole thing with Clemson, I'm going to just touch this real quickly. Because I think if I'm Clemson, I think they're in a win-win situation here. He's not going to play tomorrow, and I don't think he's going to play against Notre Dame because if they beat Notre Dame, no problems. If they lose to Notre Dame in a close game, then, well, he didn't play. And now if they play Notre Dame again, he's going to play. I just think this sets up nice for Clemson because I think that the championship game ultimately is what's going to determine if Clemson goes in. Because even if they lose to Notre Dame and then beat Notre Dame up, I think they got to put Clemson in the playoffs. Don't you agree?
Well, absolutely. Now, here's the thing, and I've speculated on this. The NCAA made this rule before they allowed anybody to play football. If you have COVID, you have to be quarantined for 10 days. Now, it's important because if Lawrence tested positive yesterday, he would, by law, not be allowed to play against Notre Dame because the next Saturday would be the 10th day of quarantine. So he would not be allowed to play against Notre Dame. Now, if he tested positive on Wednesday and they announced it on Thursday, and let's be honest, champ, Clemson might decide, by the way, he did test positive on Wednesday, and we just announced it on Thursday, then the 10th day would be this coming, or 1 week from Friday. So he would be eligible to play against Notre Dame. I'll be curious to see what happens here, but I'm with you. I mean, look, if he tested positive yesterday and he's not allowed to play against Notre Dame beats Clemson next Saturday, everyone's going to go, okay, well, Clemson lost because Lawrence wasn't there quarterbacking the team, and then now you have to hope and pray that Clemson wins out and is able to stay in second place in order to get into the ACC championship game. But if they do, then they would be probably favored against Notre Dame in the ACC title game.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that Clemson's going to take their backup quarterback, go in there and whip Notre Dame, and then all of a sudden it goes from bad but worse because of that scenario. But clarification, Ron, I've been reading too that 10-day period might start when you actually started feeling the symptoms, not so much when you tested positive.
Interesting.
Check the clarification, because that would make more sense, because just because you tested positive doesn't mean 2 days earlier you could have had it. It's when you start feeling the symptoms is what they may go by.
Okay.
Which is Tuesday.
Well, and if that's the case, then he would be more than eligible to play on Saturday, because if he felt the symptoms on Tuesday, then we're looking at he's done by Thursday, and that's 2 days before the game. So, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, but I think if this backup quarterback who's really highly touted, if he comes in there and does very well this week, I think Clemson might just sit Lawrence down, let the backup guy go at it, and then he'll be ready to go in the championship game.
Well,
I think Clemson might do that.
But here's an interesting dilemma, and let me just throw this dilemma out there. Let's say Notre Dame does beat Clemson with a backup quarterback, but Notre Dame loses to North Carolina. And now we have a three-way tie. Guess who doesn't get into the ACC title game? That would be Clemson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I still think though that Notre Dame, in my opinion, just that they need to. If they lose one game, lose to Clemson, get in that championship game, and then beat. That's the only way. I think the scenario, in my opinion, they could get in. If either unbeaten or they beat Clemson twice, but they're not going to do that. But if they lose at home, but then win the championship game, I think that's the best path to get in, and that's the only way I think they can get in.
Well,
once they win all their games.
Yeah, I'm not even, and I'm gonna go coaches speak. I'm not even concerned with Clemson because my concern's on the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech this week.
You're right. And then you know what? And if they lose to Clemson, they still have a shot, but they got to keep winning, and they got to win big like they did against Pitt. They need to do that Pitt game tomorrow, and then they got to do that the week after Clemson. That's how they get up there in the top 5, stay up there by what they did to Pitt, not so much what happened with Florida State.
Well, I mean, they beat Pitt like a rented mule and went down a spot in the ratings, which was just absurd. But and look, I mean, the whole poll system is absurd, so it is what it is.
It is. Okay. But that's pretty much all I have, and I will be interested to watch these games tonight and tomorrow night. I just want the best teams to go forward.
I have to ask. You have a cheater as a manager now with the Tigers. Yeah. How are you feeling about bringing in a cheater?
Well, the day a week after Gardenhire retired or whatever, I started reading some of the things around off my phone, and about 10 minutes I said to myself, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to hire A.J. Hinch because they have a history with him, and take out the cheating thing, which he did cheat, by the way. Take it out. I think he's the obvious choice for the Tigers because what they're looking for. Because now they're ready. They're done with rebuilding. They need to get a manager that's won a World Series, and he did just like Leland and Sparky. but I think it was obvious to me, and I think that the White Sox were also very interested in him. I think that's something we're not going to hear about, but I think behind the scenes, that's what this was all about. But the Tigers really wanted him from the very beginning, and he wanted to be on the Tigers. Now, here's the situation. I'll say this. He didn't start cheating, but he didn't stop it, okay? But he actually served his 2 years of punishment, unlike any of the players did.
No, that's true. I mean, he definitely served his punishment.
Right.
Now, I would have personally stayed in the Tiger organization, and I would have had Lance Parrish as my skipper because Lord knows he's a veteran skipper in the minor leagues, and I think that it would have been a Tiger guy in the organization. But I mean, they're trying to make a splash, and they made a splash, and I think the White Sox made a splash. Although Tony La Russa 20 years ago would have been a better choice, but I mean, he's. I guess you have a Geritol guy with a young team, and maybe that's a good combination.
Well, how old is La Russa now?
I think he was the server at Christ's Last Supper.
Well, I think whatever happens, I think he's training to run for president in 4 years because
that's true.
Case for that.
Yeah. He could make a good case for that because we get two geezers running for it now. So you have a point, sir.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned about is baseball going to be able to get on the field and get back to normal? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things in the air for basketball, hockey, and baseball once again. And like I said, this is unbelievable. And it's just and it's really bad right now. It really is bad, and it is. It's scary, and we just got to battle through it. But this is going to be some months ahead here that it could be. Just hold on to your seats, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of people that are holding on for other reasons too, which happens to fall in about 4 days. Actually 5 days. I take that back. No, it is 4 days. It is Friday. So it is 4 days from now. Hey, always a pleasure, champ.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I can do on Sunday at 1 o'clock. I've been thinking I might go to a movie.
Yeah,
I might do The Leaves. But if you can help me on that, give me an idea.
Well, I mean that would be I'm trying to figure out what I want to do Sunday at 1 as well. I guess there's a Bills game against some rundown broke ass team out of Foxborough. I don't know if I want to see that or not though.
Isn't it a shame how we've canceled Sundays at 1 o'clock for the next 25 years? I wonder why.
Yeah, gee.
But, anyways, have fun tonight. Should be a barn burner.
It should be. Thanks for the call, Champ. Appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Take care.
See ya. There goes Mr. Champ on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I say all of the Patriots trash talk in jest because, well, let's be honest. New England has owned Buffalo the last 20-some-odd meetings. I'll be happy. I'll be happy once this game is over with. Do I think the Bills win Sunday in Orchard Park? Yes, I do. Do I think that the game's going to be close? Yes, I do. Do I trust Belichick? Even though this team has not played very well, listen, until they're mathematically eliminated, I don't care of what their record is. I don't care. It's Belichick, and until they're mathematically eliminated, they still have a chance as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. The other game that I think, Steeler Nation should be happy about, they're playing the Ravens, and that'll be a knockdown, drag-out game. So let's see. Steeler Nation, Raider Nation, Browns Nation, Bills Nation. We all have nothing to do Sunday. I guess we'll watch our games, I guess. That'll do it for the show today. Have a great weekend, everyone. Monday, a brand new week, a brand new stuff to talk about, and hopefully we will get as many local teams into the regional championship game as humanly possible. That'll do it for Running Points. Power Hour is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And